how do you engage both your experienced employees and your brand new employees and everyone else in between equally to get the most out of their performance? Let's talk about that today. The short answer is we need to treat them differently. Now, I know it's going to sound strange coming from me. Obviously, I'm all about making sure that we treat our employees fairly, but this is a really key point, because if we adapt how we communicate and how we provide support to our different employees, we're actually meeting the employees where they are, and then we're maximizing what they need at that correct point. There's a model that's been developed that I want to explain to you today. The Center for Leadership Studies came up with this wonderful model, which I want to talk about. It's called the Situational Leadership model. And basically, it explains how you as a leader need to show up, depending on where your employee is, where their experience is, and the things you need to communicate to them at their different level to get the most out of their engagement and provide them the most level of support. The Situational Leadership model has 4 main sections. Each section indicates how you need to show up as a leader. They are directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating. What's critical to understand is that it's not about the whole person that you need to adjust your leadership style to. It's about the specific skill or area that they need development in that you need to adjust your style to. So for example, you may have a veteran employee, a seasoned employee who is really good at their job. They know all the things, but they happen to be learning a brand new skill. You need to support that veteran employee in a very particular way on that new skill. Even though they may be very much a hands-off, you don't need to worry about them too much in every other aspect of their job. Likewise, sometimes your brand new employees may already know how to use a tool, and so you don't need to do very much in the way of supporting them, but they may need support in other areas of their job. So the way you show up, depending on whether it's the skill they already know or the areas that they don't know, will need to vary. The first leadership style is the directing style. This particular style you want to use when the employee is learning a new skill or there's something that they've never done before and they need greater support. With the directing style, you're going to be very much hands-on. You're going to be providing with direct training. You're going to be explaining the steps that are required. You're going to be basically there with them, showing them what they need to do, how they need to do it, and all the various aspects. The expectation is that the employee doesn't know anything yet, and so they need to be shown how to do it. They need to be guided in the correct process, hence the word directing. Very much a hands-on approach that you will need to take. The second leadership style is the coaching style. So this is when the employee starts to get their feet under them a little bit. They've been exposed to whatever the new skill is. They're trying new things, and you're still there providing them with direction when they need them, but you're also stepping back a bit and you're allowing them to experiment a little bit. You're allowing them to have their hands on the tools, to start using the software, and I'm being very careful, I'm walking on a very slippery rock. And you're providing them with more support, but you're still very much there, pointing them in the right direction, giving them the answers that they need. The third leadership style is the supporting style. In this particular leadership style, you're taking even further steps back. You are basically allowing the employee to do the work themselves, use the new skill, experiment on their own, and you're still there, but you don't need to be providing them with direct instruction anymore. You don't need to be telling them what they need to do. You don't need to be over their shoulder checking their work. You're giving them the space to do the work themselves. Now, you're still present. You're still there to support them because they may have questions. They may come into situations they haven't experienced before, and they may not know what to do. So you still want to be around for them, but you don't need to be providing them with that direct support anymore. The final leadership style is the delegating style. This is the point where you're completely hands-off. The employee knows everything that they need to know, and you don't need to worry about it anymore. They've got it. You don't need to even ask them about it. In fact, you will provide them with an assignment and expect that they will go off and use the skills or apply the tools as expected. You don't need to think about it anymore. Now, you can always help them out if they have questions, certainly, but This is where you can delegate tasks to them and expect that they've got it. It just started raining, so I just jumped under one of these umbrellas for a bit. The thing I want to also talk to you about when it comes to the situational leadership model is that as much as they've identified these 4 areas, the directing, the coaching, the supporting, and the delegating styles of leadership, it's important to realize that this isn't 4 separate areas, it's actually one continuum. And that as a manager, you need to adjust your style up and down. Think of it as like you're dialing in or adjusting the volume on some of your ways of communicating to provide more direction if the employee needs it and less direction and more support if they become more experienced. Because sometimes what you might find is that an employee will start using a skill and they start getting a hang of it, but then they run into difficulty. They encounter a situation they've never experienced before, and they need more support, at which point you come in, you provide a little bit more direction, a little bit more instruction, a little bit more help to get them where they need to be. So this is a process of dialing up your leadership style or down, depending on what your employee needs. I'm just gonna go find some shelter. Was this helpful? Was it useful to learn about the situational leadership model? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're looking for more leadership tips, then maybe think about clicking on the link in the description talking about my new manager checklist. This is a list of 100 different items that you as a manager can apply in your work to make sure that you've got all the fundamentals covered off. If that's interesting to you, click on the link below. Otherwise, until next time, let's get to work.